because I was reading Resolution 20. That's the critical race resolution adopted before the board before I came on the board this time. It has one sentence in it, and it is this: the State Board of Education condemns, in the highest terms possible, white supremacy culture. Now, I don't know how on earth that could have got past our legal department, because to me, it seems patently non-compliant with the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Can you, in your wildest dreams, imagine that we had adopted a resolution that said the State Board of Education condemns, in the highest terms possible, black culture? Oh, we'd have a war going on now, wouldn't we?
They're going to have to start trying to cultivate, baby coons now. And when we see stuff happening in classes, in schools, let me show you an example of what they're doing in school now. This was in somebody's class. I want y'all to see this screenshot. I don't know what school this was in, but this is in some school. Is slavery always bad? I really want to know what school this was in. Pros: slaves would be beneficial for some companies due to faster work performance. Cons: slaves were sometimes harshly beaten. Pros: not all slaves were treated with neglect. Cons: slaves had little to no freedom. Pros: most slaves had food, shelter, and clothing. Cons: families may be separated. Pros: slavery can be viewed as an opportunity to pay off a debt. Cons: slavery goes against human rights. So the fact that this is even a remote debate, this shows you how sick these white supremacists are, and they don't look at slavery as a bad thing. They still don't look at slavery as a bad thing. To this day, they think that black people still deserve to be enslaved, and the means justify the ends. If your enslavement means that they can get all the benefits and privileges of whiteness, so be it. That's why the dominant society, they'll never voluntarily be on some shit about equality. Equality is a bad thing to the white supremacists. I want black folks to understand that equality is a negative. Because if we're equal, we're going to surpass them. We have to be in a situation where we're in a dominant situation where we can protect ourselves. That's where the code comes in. Let's stop all that equal right. They love throwing that equal shit at us. Damn equal. We need to get rid of white supremacist domination. See, we got to stop playing word games with these white supremacists. See, they start playing word games with our children at a young age. All of this minority, aggrieved communities, underserved areas, let's stop all that. Let's stop playing these word games with these people. We live in a system of white supremacy. We have to teach our children that, and we got to stop being ashamed to play to admit what's going on with us. We play these little childlike games with white supremacy. Hit that thumbs up button. There's a lot of us in here. Hit that thumbs up button. Hit that like button. But look, there's a video that the white supremacists were circulating around of this black kid. He's in school talking about it's really about money. Somebody's been teaching this kid some talking points. He's using talking points. And boy, white people are really big up in this kid. Now listen to this kid. Now I want y'all to listen to this. Listen to this. And look at his surroundings. He's around a bunch of white kids, it looked like. Hold on.
This system is really not fair, because the average person that's wealthy can easily pay their way out of prison. It's really all about money, because the people who have the money always pay their way out. They hire the best lawyers, people that know they did the crime, but the people that are put on the death row are the people that hardly have anything, people that hardly have family. Think about it this way, and back to my favorite story. My favorite show, O.J. Simpson versus the people. He literally paid his way out of jail. It wasn't from his lawyer. It wasn't from the jury. It was the way that he represented himself. It was the way that he paid people to let him free.
Okay, so I want to. This kid sounds like he's adopted by white people, or he might be non-FBA. You know, but the little baby coon crumbs are really dripping. They're making a little Larry Elder. They're making a Larry Elder Jr. He sounds adopted. He sounds adopted by white people. Notice the example he used of unfair injustice in the court system was Johnny Cochran and O.J. Simpson. This sounds like a kid who was adopted by white people. And I noticed a lot of white people are talking about how articulate he is and all well-spoken he is. So very condescending talking points. But yeah, it's all about money. See, that's what white supremacists say when you talk about racism. Let me break down his talking points here. Number one, it's not about money. But the people on death row are usually people who don't have money. No. It's not about money. It's about white supremacy. Because if it was about money and lack thereof, how come so many of these white supremacists who stormed the Capitol are getting slaps on the wrist? A bunch of white supremacists who don't have a lot of money. These white supremacists don't have a lot of money, but they're all getting slaps on the wrist. And they tried to overthrow the damn government. None of them got harsh sentences, not one. These white supremacists ran into the Capitol building, many of them armed, and tried to overthrow the government, and they're getting the equivalent of parking tickets. They're literally getting slaps on the wrist.
Capitol insurrectionists continue to whine and cry about being caught doing very illegal things. Despite the intent of the riots to overturn the election, many of them are being introduced to the justice system with very soft hands and very light little slaps in the wrist. Oh, naughty boy. Oh, you're so naughty. You went to the Capitol and broke some windows and smeared feces all over the place and chased out lawmakers. Bad. A couple of months in probation. Maybe a couple of months in jail. They have no idea how well they're being treated by the justice system.
And they tried to overthrow the damn government. None of them got harsh sentences, not one. These white supremacists ran into the Capitol building, many of them armed, and tried to overthrow the government, and they're getting the equivalent of parking tickets. They're literally getting slaps on the wrist. They physically tried to overthrow the government. They do not have a lot of money. They're going in here with public defenders getting slaps on the wrist. Whereas Black Panthers, you got black folks who was just at a Black Panther meeting in 1967 and they're in prison now. They didn't pick up a gun and do nothing to nobody and they sitting in prison right now for just being at a damn Black Panther meeting in the 60s. Ain't about no damn money. Whiteness is money. It's about white supremacy. If it was about money, why did Bill Cosby go to jail for so long for something he didn't do? And they had to let him out because they created a travesty of the law to prosecute him. Bill Cosby had damn near $500 million and they locked him up off the word of a bunch of broke white women. It's not about money, it's about white supremacy. And going back to OJ didn't do the crime. That's why OJ was able to get off. He had enough money to not get railroaded. OJ got off because they had a damn white supremacist race soldier who was in charge of the investigation, who's a damn neo-fucking Nazi. You understand? Who got on the stand and they asked him, hey, did you plant this evidence? Because it looked like you planted evidence. Oh, I plead the fifth. All right, not guilty. They had to let OJ off because OJ didn't do it.
Detective Furman, would you please resume the witness stand? All right, good afternoon, Detective.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
You're reminded, sir, that you are still under oath. Mr. Ullman, you may proceed.
Detective Furman, was the testimony that you gave in this case completely truthful?
I wish to assert my Fifth Amendment privilege.
Have you ever falsified a police report?
I wish to assert my Fifth Amendment privilege.
Is it your intention to assert your Fifth Amendment privilege with respect to all questions that I ask you?
Yes.
I only have one other question, Your Honor.
What was that, Mr. Ullman?
Detective Furman, did you plant or manufacture any evidence in this case?
I assert my Fifth Amendment privilege.